August was a month. It starts here and goes to the end of the shelf. I'm so proud of myself. So, since I'm so proud of myself and all the books that I finished in August, we are Let's Go Girls today because that's the vibe we're giving off, okay? I have not filled out a single review for August. I'm just gonna give you a heads up. Things happened. I just have not written down anything, which is perfectly okay. Here is my August spread with the 27 books I finished. Who is she? There's my reading pages. Who am I? Who is this? Who did this? Me. I'm so proud of myself. I think the least amount of pages I read in a day was 100, and the most definitely like 450, 440, 450. But it was Aurelium, so I have my syllabus, which I finally got printed off in colored sheets. And then I have my classes I took, plus the Apothecary Keeper opportunity that I took. And then here's my Implings spread. I need to update this because I'm not sure how many guild points I have in total. And then I have all of my spreads that I did. And the only one that kind of is cool is my Avatar comics that I did, which I just put the star ratings and I didn't really say anything about them. Like, I did so much. So much, girls. Oh my god, let's go, girls. So we're gonna talk about it. So many things. So many things. My books on my spread aren't in order either, but they are in order up here. So I'll just grab them from here and talk about them, but you can also kind of see some of them. Because I was like, they're turned around and then I didn't like how it looked and it was a whole thing. But let's get started. The first one I read isn't even on there. The first one I read was Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 0, and what did I give this one? 3 stars. I gave it 3 stars. It was a very nice introduction, but I also felt like I didn't know what was happening, hence the 3 stars. Even though I've watched the first couple episodes of the show, I know that this is the movie spin-off thing. I just feel like I need to get more into it before I have real judgment. I couldn't even tell you what it's about because I've read so much this month, so bear with me. Everything is gonna fall over. But the second book that I read was Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi, and this book was very lovely. This book was written beautifully, and I gave it 4 stars, but holy shit did this anger me. The, like, audacity of identity theft and the things that happened in this that are, like, the repercussions that will just, like, follow forever. That is a realistic thing of shit that happens in today's society because society is fucked up. Hurt me on the inside so bad, and that's why I gave it 4 stars. But this follows 2 sisters, June and Jane, and they're kind of estranged. They are very different. One is very much the golden child, has the good job, is amazing, and the other one is the one going to fashion school and living in a shitty apartment, doesn't want to talk to her parents, and it's kind of just the family dynamic of who they are, and it's very chaotic. It's such a chaotic, like, most people I feel like this day and age would, if their family did shit like this, would just cut them off. And I feel very strongly about that, but it was complicated. But beautifully written, but so complicated, and it hurt my insides way more than I feel like it should have, but it did. The next book I gave 5 stars to, and that is A Rogue of One's Own by Evie Dunmore. This is the second book in this little series, but it's not necessarily, you don't really need to read it in order, but it kind of makes more sense because of the characters from the first book, which is over here somewhere. Yeah, Bringing Down the Duke do show up in here, and they talk about what happened in the first book in here. So it is a historical romance, and the main characters are Lucy and Ballantyne. His name isn't Ballantyne. Lord Ballantyne. It's Tristan. Lucy and Tristan. And Lucy has been running the sisters' suffragette movement, trying to get women the right to vote and everything. And Tristan has been just kind of like, he's a rogue, so he is, I'm a bachelor forever kind of vibe, doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to get married for obvious reasons. She's trying to change the course of history and give women rights. And most of it is like getting rid of the Marriage Act, which is trying to... The Marriage Act is that once a woman is married, she cannot hold property. Her husband holds the property, and when they get divorced, it is the husband's, not hers. And so it kind of revolves around that, but it is very much like enemies to lovers, and I love that. It was very cute. I think all of these might be enemies to lovers, because so was the first one. But they're just very cute and spicy and very much like women being amazing, and I love that about it. Like, I don't normally like historical things, historical romances like this specifically, but this was beautiful. I feel like I'm gonna have to talk really fast to get through everything. Is that bad? I don't know. Anyways, the next book I gave 4 stars to, and that is The Shadow of Kyoshi by F.C.E. This is the sequel to The Rise of Kyoshi, and kind of encompasses a lot. My one complaint with this one is that we are in the Fire Nation, and there's no mention of dragons. Dragons existed in Kyoshi's era, which I was just like very upset about. They do talk about lightning, because lightning isn't really a thing. It's something that's been lost. So it's like kind of coming back into fruition, and there's a lot about Earth Kingdom politics versus Fire Nation politics and a lot of that kind of stuff. And we even get to see like airbender nomads like working and doing their like nomad-y thing and walking around, or like traveling around. Why did I say walking around? Traveling around on their bison and just kind of like seeing how the world was before the 100-Year War, and I very much appreciate that. But also, like, where the fuck are the dragons? Like, come on. They exist. Now on to the important parts. I started off reading The Lost Adventures and Team Avatar Tales. There's like 2 different sections in here. I don't really know where they separate, but it's just a bunch of mini stories. Some of them are only like 2 pages long of stuff that happened, some of them in the series itself. And I talk more in depth about some of them because I have a vlog where I read all these, which is why I got through them so quickly. The Team Avatar, or the Lost Adventures, that's the one where they go from each comic and talk about like a storyboard, or redo a storyboard that wasn't included in the show. And there's a lot from the Book of Earth and the Book of Fire. I don't know why I'm saying them like that. Book Earth and Book Fire that are really cool and good to know and like actually have information. And there was fun stuff like how they stuck into the Fire Nation, and how they got Zuko from Ba Sing Se back to the Fire Nation, and how Toph and Boomy fought for being the best earthbender of all time. Oh, so good. And then the Team Avatar Tales was stuff that happened after the show that was just like fun adventures. Like this one's about pumpkin carving and just really cute and really enjoyable, and I had a lot of fun reading. And I think I gave it overall 4 stars because there's so many stories in here. There's like 100 stories in here. It's insane. The only downside is that these don't fit on my shelf. They are not. They're too tall. So I have to move one of the shelves so that it will fit. And I'm low-key upset about that. But the next one I read is Katara and the Pirate's Silver. And if this would have been included, which I definitely think this should have been included, it was very good in the show. This man right here would have been a heartthrob for everybody. And we all know it. Like, just like Jet was. This guy. But this is really cute. Katara gets lost and ends up finding a town that is an Earth Kingdom town that is under control of the Fire Nation, and helps these pirates basically pillage and get it back in a weird way, but it's very cute and I loved it. I give it 4 stars? 4 stars. No, I give this one 5 stars. I very much enjoyed it. The next one I read was Chainsaw Man Volume 4, and I gave this one 4 stars. This is kind of where the TV show ends, and I am intrigued to continue on and learn more new things, because I didn't really learn anything new in this one, but it was very much enjoyable and I love the show, or the anime, but I'm excited to continue on and see what else there is there in the next one. See what else there is there? See what else there is in the next one. Wow. The next one I read is Suki Alone, and I gave this one 4 stars, and this one takes place with Suki in the prison before Zuko and Sokka show up, so it kind of ends with them coming to the prison and finding out that she's there, and Kyoshi is in it because she's kind of like, I need the strength. But you learn a lot about Suki and her past and how she became a Kyoshi warrior and friends that she had in her childhood and stuff, because there's flashbacks, and I really, really liked this one. Next up. It's just slowly tilting over. Next up, I think I gave this one 5 stars? No, this one is 4 stars as well, and it is The Promise. This is kind of the first big one that they had. This is when Zuko realizes that he might turn into his father, and he makes Aang make a promise with him that he will kill him if he turns into his father, and it's like a lot of pressure on both of them while they're trying to figure out what to do with the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Nation colonies, and this is kind of the beginning of the conflict that spans the rest of these graphic novels and how Republic City comes to be, which is really cool. So I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read, I think this is the first one I finished for Aurelium. No, it's not. Aurelium, I finished A Rogue of One's Own for Aurelium, and this was the second one that I finished for Aurelium, and it is A World Without Princes. This is A School for Good and Evil book 2, and I have some thoughts. This is very much a juvenile, I know it's a middle grade, but hear me out, a juvenile conflict that I feel like should have been left in the early 2000s at the very least. I feel like it should have been left ages ago, but it, instead of good versus evil, which is a classic thing that we can get behind, that in these stories are very black and white when they should be looking at like the gray in between. And I know it's understandably supposed to be a fairy tale type setting, and I understand that the good versus evil conflict is meant to be there because of the fantasy thing. This one has a girl versus boy conflict, and there is like some discussions of like switching genders and stuff, but not enough that I feel like this does more damage than good in the overall concept of being a beloved middle grade series. It very much takes the black and white and makes it worse, and just kind of overall girls versus boys puts more labels on things that there has to be, and it was not even published that long ago, which is the problem I think from it. It's from 2014, and I feel like it just adds to problems and should not be the way that it is, I guess is what I'm saying. It causes more problems and adds to more problems than I feel like any book in existence today should have a right to do, and I feel like it should have been looked at better and consulted better, because this was not it. This could have been handled way differently, and I don't think it should have been a plot point at all. Those are my thoughts. Nothing really good. I mean, I like the battles. I like the characters. Did not like the labeling and the discriminatory parts of it. I don't like how Sophie and Agatha are treated at all. Next one was also a 3-star, I think. These are my 2 least favorite books, mostly. But it's The Light Pirate, and this is by Lily Brooks Dalton. I thought this was actual pirates on the 7 seas pillaging with magic. It is not that. It is a dystopian, the world is ending, global warming, very realistic global warming. Florida's flooding. Let's learn how to survive in the wilderness again, in the swamp, with a little bit of magic realism thrown in. Very different from what I expected. Very beautiful story, don't get me wrong. Beautifully written, but I went in with very, very different expectations, and I don't know why, because I thought it was more of a fantasy pirates, but it's very much dystopian global warming with like a little bit of magic from mutations thrown in. Not even magic that anybody chooses to understand or figure out. So, I don't know. That's my thoughts. I don't know. This was very confusing and conflicting to me, but I did like it. So I don't know what to tell you. I feel like other people would like this more than I did. The next book I read was Happily Undead and Dark River by Grace McGinty. This is the second book in the Dark River series, and yes, it flows very weirdly as a title, but it is a polyamorous vampire novel with like shifters and everything fantastic. And in the first one, the main character Mika, aka Rain, wakes up in a ditch and stumbles into Dark River and discovers that she's no longer human, that somebody has murdered her, and she is a vampire. So an investigation is opened up in the first book, and they find out who created her, who aka made her, and consequences happen after that that kind of tumble into this one, including the vampire nation coming for a visit, and more investigations taking place with the other residents and seeing if this is really a safe place for vampires to be, because it is a whole town of vampires. And I love it, honestly. The romance in this, it's great. It's spicy, it's no thoughts, head empty. I love reading it. It's so good. Don't ask me anymore. I gave it 4 stars, so I think. Yep, I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read, this one I gave 5 stars to, and this one is The Search for Avatar the Airbender. This is the one where they go looking for Zuko and, I almost said Suki, Azula's mom, and it's honestly so cool to see what happened and everything that's going on, and genuinely the spirit that they talk to in this one is one of the coolest spirits I've ever seen in the whole show. Like, I wish that this could have been like something they animated and made, because I would love to watch it happen in real time, because the spirit is just so pretty. Let me just find the one where she shows up. There is a wolf spirit, but it's something else. This one. Like, look at how pretty this spirit is. And I like these library editions because there's notes from the people who wrote them, but like, so cool. I loved this spirit. It was such a cool concept, and we got a lot of answers, which I appreciated. The next one I read was my least favorite, I'm just telling you that right now, and that is The Rift. I gave this one 3 stars, probably bump it down to 2, because The conflict between Aang and Toph in this really feels like something from season 2. It feels like they worked through a lot of these differences between themselves before this, and that most of this shouldn't have happened. Basically, Aang trying to get back to his tradition, teaching people about his traditions and things that happened, and Toph pushing him into the future, saying that this shit needs to happen, and not respecting Aang trying to revive his culture. And I hated everything. I hated how she acted in this. I hated that she did not care that there were spirits attacking, because like that's how serious this was, and they could have worked better to the outcome to make this better for everybody overall, because it was just ridiculous. It was a ridiculous fight that I don't feel that they should have had this far after the show, and that they've resolved enough differences in their own personalities to respect each other, but it doesn't feel like she respects Aang at all. And I hate that. Those are my thoughts and feelings about this one. What even happened to this? The next book I gave 4 stars to, and it is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. People say that if you read this one first, you like this better than Beach Read, and if you read Beach Read first, then you like Beach Read better than this one. And I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I read Beach Read first and I like it better than this one, which is terrible. But this one follows Poppy and Alex from Poppy's point of view, and they've been best friends since their first year in college, and they have gone on a summer trip every year since then, except for the last 2 years, because they had a fallout after an incident, basically. And this is Poppy trying to reach back out to Alex and do their summer vacation again, but also figuring out that she doesn't want to work at her job anymore, she doesn't know what she wants in life anymore, and she's got a lot of stuff to figure out. And this felt a lot like from friends to lovers to enemies to lovers again, and it's exactly what Every Summer After was. I don't know, it's somewhere over here. Over there. And I liked Every Summer After more than I liked this one, I will admit. This was not my favorite, but I did enjoy the overall story of it. I didn't like, not necessarily miscommunication, but like saying something and running of it. There was very much that aspect, but I still had a good time. I am enjoying reading more romance books, so I appreciate it. The next book I read, I gave 4 stars to, and this is Toph Beifong's Metal Bending Academy. In the first little bit of the comics, we do see Toph opening up her Metal Bending Academy, and she has these 3 students back there, and this is like kind of her expanding the school after she's figured out how to teach them metal bending and how they've gotten it, and so she's expanding it to everybody else and teaching more people. And she also has decided that she wants to get back into underground fighting rings, but everybody knows who she is now, so they think they're going to get arrested. And in the process, Toph uncovers lava bending, which is, I think, why she's not surprised in Korra, because this is our first instance of figuring it out, and decides to help the lava bender figure out what they can do, which is very cute. And I would like to have more expansion on the lava bending between now and Korra's era, where what's-his-face has it, Bolin. I almost called him Boomy, where Bolin has it. I would like more about that. I'm just saying. And Toph kind of redeemed herself like a little bit in this, but like I'm still upset over the rift. Don't judge me for the next one, but I read this thing called The Defiant Mate. We've all seen the ads, okay, for the audiobooks. I wanted to read it. I was intrigued, so I downloaded the app and got the audiobook for this. Let me tell you, it's just as bad as you think it is, okay? I gave it 2 stars because I was obsessed, so more than 1. But it's so terribly written, like, it's so poor written. It was just like, I didn't know what their names were half the time, because the narrator would say something and then the little text that they had would say something else, and it never connected or made any sense. So let me just I screenshotted some of them because I was like, this can't be real. Okay, so her name Jayla, I didn't understand. If you saw my updates on Goodreads, you would understand how frustrated I was with this. It took me like 3 days to finish, but I did it. So it like looked like this, but it says, "Don't ever doubt that you should go now before I mark and macho." And it was Mark and Mayu is what she said, but it said Mark and macho, and there was no like actual periods. Like I'm sorry, my phone is dirty. If you look, like, it was just like Jayla space period, and then it was like a comma, but the grammar was just so bad. And then his pain ripped through her as his fangs plunged deep into the tender skin of Remark's spot. It's supposed to be her mark spot, but it says Remark spot, and it was just always like that. It was terrible. I don't recommend it, but I just had to show you how bad it was. This is near the end when I was getting really frustrated with it. don't read it. But like, yeah, grammar errors, voice errors, overall written terribly. I felt like I was listening to a Wattpad book from a 13-year-old. But the next one I gave 4 stars to, and it is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. What do I have to say about this? This secondhand embarrassment in this was too much for me. It was very much putting yourself into situations where you were lying the entire time. I loved the romance aspect, the like tension, like there's only one bed tension, and we have to fake date or fake be married basically on vacation. But like the fact that she lied so much that she like lost a job and did all that shit, just I didn't get it. I feel like I'm now running out of words, I've talked so much, but like this could have been, I feel like it could have been handled way differently in real life and way better in real life, and that's just why I'm kind of like, eh. It was a 4 star. The next book I read, a fan favorite, is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. I finally finished it, finally got through it. I'm very excited. I loved this, but I actually liked Heir of Fire better. I like a good training montage, and this was like returning to there and figuring out everything, but I feel like this is a good segue book into what is coming, so I feel like this was more like filler stuff. I keep saying like, ugh, I hate that I've noticed that now. It was a good filler book. It had a lot of information to segue into something else. Things were done, yes, but they were definitely things that needed to get done in order to do bigger things, so I feel like it was a good middle book. Love me some Manon, and that's all that I care about. Kale was less in this. I appreciated that, and I just appreciate all of it. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. Next up, a 4 star, Smoke and Shadow. This one was cool. We kind of get to see Mei and Zuko where they're at after their breakup, what Mei's family is doing. There's a lot more feature of her in here. What Zuko's family is doing. Why does it sit like that? I've already read this. Anyways, spirits versus non-spirits, and it was just overall really good testing Zuko as Fire Lord book story. And I liked it. The next one I also gave 4 stars to is North and South. This is kind of the segue to what the Southern Water Tribe is up to, and seeing that the Northern Water Tribe is trying to help them but also colonize them and have them as a colony instead of like a sister tribe, and what they are doing to deal with that, and like the little rebellion that they have going on, and works out a lot of issues, which I appreciate. Stay there, sir. Nope. I said stay there. I do not appreciate this. This one is the last one in the Avatar Airbender universe, specifically with Aang, and it is in balance, and I gave this one 5 stars. This is the newest one. It has a different art style. They look older in this one. I liked it so much. This is where we see Baby Republic City. There's Baby Republic City. It's called Cranefish Town in here, and they make jokes about it because it sounds terrible, but it also starts off the beginnings of Korra season 1, because it's very much the benders coming after the non-benders for developing machinery that does what bending does, and kind of them being like, you're getting rid of our jobs, give them back to us type vibe. And I loved it. It was very good. I love seeing Baby Republic City. The next book I gave 4 stars to, and that is White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And let me tell you, I cannot stop thinking about this book. Oh my gosh. So, our main character, Layla, is half warden, half demon. Wardens are basically like gargoyle type angels that are helping to destroy demons, and demons are trying to come and just cause chaos. She can tag demons, just like touch them and put a light around them so that wardens can find them easier, and she's kind of been doing that her whole life because she has been raised by wardens. But she comes into, when I say contact, she runs into a higher level demon who is kind of just there to watch her, and finds out a lot more about her history and her past and what the stuff the wardens have been hiding from her. And I loved it. 10 out of 10. This was really good. I cannot wait to get to the next one. I genuinely needs to happen. This was so good. The next book I gave 4 stars to, and that is Turf Wars, and this is immediately after the end of Korra. Like, genuinely, it is Asami and Korra walking through the spirit portal, going on their vacation. That's the first page. And her then coming back and finding out that there has been a lot going on while they've been on vacation, and them having to figure it out, what to do how to help. Most of it is based upon the triads and the triple threats and all of the different gangs trying to get their areas back versus get new areas they are in control of because of how much the spirit portal destroyed and how much the spirit vines have destroyed, and it's just very much going after turf. And there's spirits involved, and I very much liked it because the spirits are like, close this portal, you should never fucking done this. And so are all the people, and Cora's like, this was supposed to be a good thing. It's not like I could just get rid of it. And I love that. It was really good. We're almost there, I promise. The next one I read is Ruins of the Empire, and as you can see, Kuvira is on the front because this is kind of the aftermath of her empire and how some of her empire did not surrender, and instead they have been brainwashing people to continue their army and continue trying to get control. And so they do that via taking part in King Wu's elections and just inserting themselves into the candidacy. And I love it. I love that Cora goes and gets Toph to help her solve the problem, and it was very enjoyable and very fun. Second to last book. The last Avatar book that I read was Patterns in Time. This is Legend of Korra, and it's a bunch of short stories, and I gave this one 5 stars. It was very cute because there was a bunch of baby Korra stories, like little Korra, teenage Korra, preteen Korra, all that kind of stuff. And I loved seeing all of those cutesy ones. Like the first one is how she found Naga, and it's super cute and I loved it. And then there's baby Asami with her mom. Okay, 10 out of 10, super cute. There's also like spirit stuff that they're trying to figure out, and honestly I thought Lost Pets was gonna be a weird one, but it's Milo and him learning some responsibility and helping find people's lost pets, and I very much appreciated it, and it was super cute. So this one was 5 stars for me. And the 27th and final book that I read was Smoke Bitten by Patricia Biggs. This is the 12th book in her Mercy Thompson series, so I won't tell you too much about it, but there is a new fae that kind of got released on the world out of Mercy's backyard, and she's got to figure out what they do, what their magic is, how to make a bargain with them, and how to get them to go away. And it just kind of opens up more stuff in the fae realm of the universe, and I thought it was overall really, really cute. Cute? I don't know. It was good, okay? I love the Mercy Thompson series. It's basically like coming home. It feels like a comfort read to me, and I love it so much. Now comes for the fun part, where I have to pick my favorite book this month. And honestly, I think it was either A Rogue of One's Own or Patterns in Time. These are my 2 favorite books this month, which is wild. Favorite books for August, baby. Woo-hoo, 2 5 stars. I feel really good about this month. I read so much. I got really caught up on my reading goals. I think I was like almost 40 books behind, and now I'm only 20 books behind, so I feel really confident about September and the rest of the year and meeting my 150 book reading goal after this month, because this was just amazing. Thank you all so much for coming to this video. If you made it this far, like, congrats, you deserve a round of applause. This was a lot. I talked a lot. I apologize for that in advance. Let me know what your favorite book of August was, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!